Cabo in the Philippines. And right here, I feel like, man, I'm like, this is a swimming pool. So I'm speaking, and imagine like from here to about like 3 or 4 rows back is a swimming pool. It's in a restaurant. And then the audience is essentially on the other side of the swimming pool. Under awnings. And it's good that the awnings were there because, as you can tell from the ripples, it was torrentially raining. But that wasn't that bad because when the rain stopped about halfway through, the bats came out. You notice there's a buffet right behind me, so if you get bored, you can go get some food. And a little projector. But the best part was I was on a karaoke system. Which was a lot of fun because everything you said had an echo back to you. About to break out free or something. But this was actually one of my favorite ones ever. Because it was a very, very intimate affair. You know, you got to see everyone touch everyone. So what are we doing in terms of features? So new stuff in WordPress. In the past, this is just in the past year. We've had 3 major releases, 2.3, 2.5, and 2.6. You'll note we missed one there. That's because 2.5 was so awesome, we couldn't do it in 1 week. We added a ton of stuff. I'm just going to go through this really. Tagging didn't exist yet. Updated. Redesign. That was an accident. A ton of features, and a lot of this has been driven actually by 2 things. One, we're starting to be a lot more proactive because there's more developers and it's more people being involved. We're being a lot more proactive. People are contributing a lot more than they used to. In fact, the 2.5 release had over 90 developers that participated and had shipping code in the final release. But the most exciting things that happened last year, you saw already, the iPhone. Oh, oops, I'm going to go back. iPhone app went really well. We were not expecting, as you know, like one of our competitors, I forget their name, was actually on stage with Steve Jobs, you know, and he got to announce their application and all the WordPress people were like, kind of bummed. But so we started working really hard. We came out with the iPhone app a couple weeks later, and we were pretty late, but already it has over 100,000 active users. So these are people actively blogging with on WordPress.com. This is not counting the WordPress.org folks, and it's completely compatible. It has hundreds and hundreds of reviews. It's the most popular blogging application out there. And also, with 2.7, you'll be able to do some pretty cool stuff with it. We're adding the ability to moderate comments from the iPhone app, which is pretty neat. Because I don't actually blog that much. I moderate comments, and I check my stats. So those are both things that you're going to be able to do from the iPhone application. Behind the scenes, there's been about 3 other big things that have been happening. The most important of these, I think, is the theme directory. Who's ever had the experience where you wanted a new theme for your blog, you're kind of stumbling across the internet, and there's weird sites, and it's pretty bad. There's no central place for themes, and then some of the sites vary hugely in quality. For example, there were actually spammers that would buy AdWords, so you'd search for WordPress themes. They'd advertise WordPress themes, and you'd go, they have a really nice directory, but every single theme had embedded spam links in the bottom, or even more, sometimes a backdoor, so they could log into your server remotely. So it was getting pretty evil. So we decided to centralize it, bring it all to one place. Theme directory has been very popular. It already has hundreds of themes and hundreds and thousands of downloads. And the cool thing is actually in 2.7. I'll tell you that. And then we did 2 acquisitions. Automatic, which is my company, which also contributes to WordPress Bot 2. One of these was Intense Debate, which is sort of like, there was intense debate, discuss, says who, like 3 or 4 of these comments. And basically, they sort of take comments to the next level. So, as bloggers, we all know one of the best things about blogging is getting feedback. Quite honestly. That's why I do it, is because I know that the people who comment on my blog are way smarter than me, and I learn a ton from them. And if I'm ever wrong, they correct me very quickly, things like that. So, but comments haven't really changed in WordPress ever. So Intense Debate had a ton of cool features, and we're actually building a lot of these in the 2.7, which I'll show you in a second. The second was PullDaddy, which was something which is brand new that we just announced that part of this. I snuck in here only because I think it's the best picture I've ever taken. This is where the PullDaddy guys live. I'm not even joking, but this is 5 minutes from their office in Sligo, Ireland. I was really bummed because I went over there. I took a secret trip over there, and I couldn't blog about it. I took all these photos, but I couldn't post them until like 2 days ago. Because people know, like, there's nothing else in Sligo. There's no other companies there. They would have known. But basically, PullDaddy is, basically what we've learned is that blogging is starting to incorporate a lot more lightweight forms of interaction. So you just know it from your stats, right? You might get 1,000 page views on a day. You might get one comment. But if you can get things in the middle there, lightweight interaction methods like polls or surveys or things where people can do the plus or minus or rate things, you find a larger percentage of your audience is going to start interacting with your blog, which is fun. And two, we have stats that show that when someone takes a poll, which is really easy, they click one button, right, on your blog, they're more likely to comment in the future. So by actually having these non-commenting things on your blog, you'll actually increase your interaction in your comments and your pages, to be honest, which is kind of cool. So another thing we've been doing is starting to gather some better stats. That's how smooth I am. On the WordPress.org side of things. So basically looking like Mozilla does, taking our update system and starting to extract some statistics from it. So, for example, we now have canonical numbers, true numbers, the number of installs of WordPress. Earlier I said the number of downloads, which is great. But the number of installs you don't know, like I never download WordPress. And some people download it once, install it 20 times. Some people download it 20 times, install it once. So for WordPress.org only, this is the current number as of about an hour ago for the number of blogs on WordPress.org. There's another 4 million on WordPress.com. So there's over 10 million WordPress blogs in the world. It totally blows me away. The initial time I saw this, and when I first talked about this, the number was like 1.2 million, which I believe. But then we found that there was a bug in the county. And we were missing like apparently 80% of the WordPress blogs in the world. So we fixed the bug. And now this number is going up very, very quickly, tens of thousands per day. And a lot of this is driven by some, WordPress is built into a lot of hosting packages, so you can install it, all sorts of things. Another interesting thing is over half of these are WordPress MU. So WordPress MU is the software we use to power WordPress.com. Basically, rather than just being a single blog thing, you can have as many blogs as you'd like on it. Thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions. And we had no idea it was being so widely used, so we're starting to invest a bit more. Other thing is, we have something in the plugins, which is essentially a free market of features. So when you think about it, WordPress out of the box is pretty blank. It doesn't do that much, right? You got a box, you put text in it, it shows up on your site. But what makes it interesting, and why most of you are probably here, is the wild array of plugins available. It's literally thousands and thousands, 3,000 or 4,000 plugins. And they transform your WordPress into almost anything. There's a plugin for managing an independent website, which I thought was harder than just installing WordPress plugins, but apparently not. There's plugins for real estate management. There's plugins for almost anything you can imagine. And what's cool is, just like you can have a prediction market or a system that tells you independent actors acting in their own self-interest can generate some really cool data. This is sort of generating that data in terms of the functionality we have in WordPress. So we can use it to track the adoption of standards. So for example, OpenID. OpenID plugin is the 145th most installed plugin in the WordPress world. We can use it to track the popularity of commercial things. So actually AdSense, which is the most popular advertising plugin, is only 24. So there's still a vast majority of blogs that aren't, well, if they are using ads, they're not using ads. And more important things like Hello Dolly. Now this is important, let me tell you why, because there was a campaign to remove Hello Dolly from WordPress. And Hello Dolly is a plugin. It's the default plugin. It's actually the first plugin ever written for WordPress. So when you install it, it puts...
who wrote it?
I forget. It puts a lyric, one line from the song Hello Dolly, and you're just totally silly. It was just meant to show that, this is what you can do with plugins. Other cool thing about this is activations. So it's probably it is the most installed plugin in the world because it comes by default with every WordPress. But it's not the most active. But it is more active than 4,000 other things. The amazing thing, though, is that some people delete it. Who are these people that are deleting the Hello Dolly plugin? And what is the matter with them? I don't know. We're actually having to do a rewrite of Hello Dolly as we speak because the new dashboard breaks it. We're going to figure it out, don't worry. The 800,000 of you running Hello Dolly will be fine in the new version. And here's the top 10 countdown. Number 10, contact forms, C forms. It's a contact form plugin. Number 9, WP polls. So you now have a hint of why we were thinking polls were important and looking into doing something.